welcome everyone. Once again, welcome to our live reflections broadcast. It's so good to be back with all of you. And this is really one of my favorite things that I get to do every week, is really connecting and spending time with all of you. So welcome. And today I really have the phenomenal and the very successful Vangile Makwakwa with me. So Vangile, if you can just say hi to everyone.
Hi guys. Thank you so much, Candice, for having me. I love Facebook Live. I love Facebook in general.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear that, most of the people that I interview actually prefer, some sort of other platform, but I'm so happy to hear that this is one of your favorite platforms too. So you and I are going to be having a good time today.
Yes. No, I like social media. I mean, I've been like the virtual entrepreneur for forever now. So social media is awesome. I love it.
Awesome. No, that's great. So I think let's just, before we get into that, I think let's just make sure that we've got everyone connected here. I also have a different device. I just want to make sure that I am connecting with everyone. So just give me a moment. But you know what? I like what you say when you say, you've been a virtual entrepreneur forever. And I think some of us are only starting now to catch up on that because we've been forced to become virtual entrepreneurs, due to lockdown. So how long have you been a virtual entrepreneur?
So I started this whole online business for wealthy money properly, I guess. I started in 2015, went off line for a while, moved to South Korea, and then came back in 2017. So since 2017, I've been consistent and building wealthy money consistently since then. And it's been since then, and I do everything online. I mean, like literally, when I say everything apart from my in-person retreats, when people come for international retreats, that's the only time that I do things offline. But everything for me has been online since 2017. And I've been wondering why people would fight that. I mean, you get to work from home, you have your own time, you can travel, you can do all sorts of other things. So, and I get that for people, they're just catching up now. But once you've caught up, you're going to be very happy that this had to happen, that the shift had to happen. I promise you. Like, literally nothing.
And you know what? A lot of people actually, because we've been forced now during lockdown to obviously, work more from home, and a lot of companies have skeleton staff at, in South Africa at their offices. So a lot of people are working from home, but I can tell you that some people have really adapted very well. I mean, I had a conversation with one of my coaching students yesterday, and she said to me, Candice, I cannot see myself going back to any other way of working. I am loving this working from home, and I get to be more productive because I don't have to travel as much anymore. And, I have more time to be productive. So I think it's one of the best things that could have happened from that perspective.
Yes. And I feel that way as well. Like when we really are honest and we look at how much time we take in a physical workspace to get there, how much time is dedicated to work. It's never your full 8 hours, right? It's the time that you're driving, sitting in traffic to go to work. And then it's the time that you're driving, sitting in traffic to come back. So much of your time is already spent driving, getting there. Let's not forget waking up, eating, getting dressed. That's even more time. But now when you're just working from home, you have all that time, and you can save, and you also save on, I guess, gas or fuel. And also you don't, in terms of like lunch money or prepping for lunch, all these little things, it's so convenient. I'm just seeing the benefits of this. Well, I've only ever seen the benefits of this, right? So,
No, that's so true. And thanks for that, Vangile. And I think, before we get into it, I can see some people have already joined us. So I just want to acknowledge them there. So thank you so much, Fatima. I can see that you're online. So Fatima is saying hi to the both of us. So thanks, Fatima, for joining us. We're really, very happy to be with everyone today. And I think I've now managed to share the watch party across the different pages. So we'll just give everyone an opportunity just to log on quickly. But I think whilst we're waiting for everyone to log on, just to give you a little bit of an introduction, and especially for those of you who are joining us for the first time on our live reflection broadcast. So, I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2010, and as a female entrepreneur, I was really looking for one platform that I could tap into where successful women can actually get some good information in the areas of business, of property, also health and mental well-being, as well as beauty, fashion, spiritual growth and development, all of these wonderful topics that most women are generally very passionate about. And I really wanted to tap into that one place where successful women could get all of those learnings and insights and creativity. And I really couldn't find that place. And I had a very lonely journey in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. But nevertheless, I said to myself, one day I was going to launch this platform where I'm able to bring all of these facets together and be able to share it with other women out there, that would also be able to help them, get some good learnings and insights, and also be able to move some of those great ideas forward. So of course, I've been thinking about it for a while, and then I decided now during this lockdown period that we've had in South Africa, I decided now is the opportune time for me to actually launch this particular platform. So for those of you who've been tuning in every week, we've been doing this live broadcast every week, and I've been bringing you phenomenal and amazing entrepreneurs and investors. And together we've really been able to share some good information with you that I really believe is able to help you move forward. So today, once again, I also have an amazing entrepreneur and investor with me. And really, she is a very phenomenal and successful woman in business. And I'm so happy and honored to have her with me on this particular broadcast. So once again, Vangile, I just want to say thank you so much for making yourself available. Thank you for joining us. And I really do appreciate the fact that you have come to join me today, so that together, we can really help and empower and just share some good insights and creativity that can help some women out there.
Oh no, it's such a pleasure, Candice. I'm so happy that I could also do this, and you can see I am. So this is a lot of fun for me.
Awesome, thank you. And for those of you who don't know, let me just tell you a little bit more about Vangile. So she is the founder of Wealth Money, and we're going to be talking about her company soon. She's the founder of Wealth Money. She's also the host of Property Magicians. And in fact, her and I have a few things that we share in common and a few passions that we share. And one of it is property as well. So she hosts this property podcast. And through this
with my co-host, I'm just going to interject.
Oh, yes, with
and say with my co-host, Mizo.
Awesome.
So it's not a one-woman show, the property podcast.
For sure. Thank you for that. And I mean, one of the things that they really want to do is that they want to help people who are starting out in property, really get to build your property portfolio. And of those, of course, who are also looking to expand, it's also then a good opportunity to get some good information and insights that can also help you expand in the area of property investing. So her and I've managed to connect on one of our property podcasts, and that's really where the relationship started for the two of us. And, it's been amazing. Today we're collaborating and going to be doing more collaborations as we go forward. So very awesome. And also, ladies and gentlemen, she's also the author of Heart, Mind and Money. So that's really awesome and well done. I know a lot of people want to author books, Vangile, but it's not always possible. Hopefully one day you'll be able to help me get started on my first one.
Oh, wow. That would be awesome, because you've got such a phenomenal story, Candice, And I think that's the beautiful thing about the podcast is that you start to learn about people's stories and get to hear them out. And then you get to connect with them outside of the podcast and get to feel them out. Like, I love how you were just saying to me, guys, it's so funny. Like, I thought that I'm I'm coming across as professional and just like, maybe I'm more corporate. And Candice is like, no, I've got you. You're much more flow and chill. I don't want to stress you out. I don't want to give you extra things to do. I was like, this woman gets me. Guys, like nobody, when someone gets that I am not about the extra stuff, I'm like, this is amazing. But this is the beauty of the podcast, I think, is that it's given us, both Mizo and I, this opportunity to connect with people and to just see how like, wow, there are people that are getting us and are on the same journey.
Yes, for sure. And I mean, I think that's the amazing thing. I really do believe in iron sharpens iron. And that is why I'm so, I'm always looking for opportunities to collaborate and for us to share ideas and our personal journeys. Because as someone else is listening to your personal journey, they are able to get some really good insights from your experiences that would be able to help them move some of their goals forward. And I think that's really the amazing thing about getting together and having these type of conversations. And I must just mention to the people, so our theme for July is building your wealth. And, we've already covered some topics as far as building your wealth is concerned. And one of the reasons why I wanted Vangile to also join me on this particular broadcast as we're covering the theme on building your wealth is because I really do believe that she's achieved a great level of success in a short period of time. In fact, her personal financial journey really started, by her paying off $60,000 of debt. And I mean, that on its own is a lot. And if you have to translate that into South African rands, I mean, that translates to about just over, or in fact, just under 1.1 million of debt that she was able to pay off, fully settle, so that she could become financially free from the debt that was harassing. And we're going to be talking about that journey as well.
Yeah.
And she's obviously way on. She's doing amazing work, and she's really, been able to build her wealth, and she continues to pursue her financial aspirations. So I think, Vangile, just to get right into it, first of all, I think it's important that people need to know that you are not in South Africa, even though you are South African, by nationality, but you are actually in Sri Lanka, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm in Sri Lanka, and it's that's why it's like so warm. So I live part-time in Sri Lanka, although right now in COVID times, it's more full-time. And because of COVID, Sri Lanka and a bunch of other countries globally are starting to change their visa laws for nomads, which is amazing, right? For nomads or expats, because it means that now we can stay in countries longer without doing visa runs. So Sri Lanka has extended the visa instead, usually you'd have to get a visa extension after 30 days, and then they give you a month or 2 months, so you can stay in the country for 3 months basically. But now you have 6 months and you can get a visa extension again after 6 months. So it's like little things like that are pretty awesome. Those are some of the minor benefits of all the hard things that are coming up. So, but I've been traveling as nomad for years. I started traveling right out of university. I went to the US and I decided to go to the Bahamas and just dance and do stuff and party. And then went to the UK, went to Trinidad, and then went back to the US and decided to go home after a while for 3 years, realized that it's not really my thing to be stationed for that long a time in one country. So I left, and now I'm just back to traveling. So even when I'm in Sri Lanka, I don't stay now, because it's different with COVID. I don't stay long here. I come, and then I spend some time, and then I leave, and then I come back. So I use it as my base. So, but I think I'm going to be using this as my base for years and years to come, because I just love it out here.
That's awesome, Vangile. And I remember when you and I started talking, some weeks back, and we were talking about this whole lockdown experience. And I remember you sharing with me, Candice, that we went on a strict lockdown for about 2.5 months. And I mean, I remember you saying that you couldn't go anywhere. In fact, I think you said there was some, like vans coming past your neighborhoods, and they were selling baby fruit. And that was about the only thing that you could buy at the time, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it was. Oh, guys, our lockdown was crazy. I can't even believe I made it through 2.5 months, right? We could not leave the yard. And in my village, where I'm at in Jayala, people were really not feeling tourists because the lockdown came with tourists. So even though people here have been seeing me for years now, they were just not feeling me anymore, because they didn't know much about COVID. So really leaving the yard for anyone in the village was a big thing. So they weren't excited about seeing people walking around, cars driving around. So we weren't allowed to leave the yard to begin with. And then all of us, they wouldn't allow, all the shops were closed. So grocery shops would open on Tuesdays, and then they'd make an announcement from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then you go buy groceries. My favorite ice cream shop, the Soya ice cream shop, was closed for a full 2.5 months. I was like, all I want is ice cream, but the government has decided ice cream is not important.
Yes.
So many things were closed. But what I will say about Sri Lankans, right, is like very different culture. People were like, okay, we just have to endure this for a few weeks. Obviously, people were upset because shops were closed. It was people's livelihood, but the attitude was so like, this won't be forever. It will change. So you just do it. And I think that's why it was, I don't want to say easy, but so bearable for me, because everyone in the house, everyone in my space had the similar attitude that we're in this together. It's not going to be forever. We know that the aim is to bring down the numbers. And as soon as the numbers go down, they will open up different parts depending on the numbers. And it just so happened that my village had super strict lockdown, even for an extra month after everybody had started to come out of lockdown, because our numbers were a little high. And then when the numbers started to stabilize and drop, and then there were no new daily infection rates, things opened up. And it's just been really, really awesome. Like now I can go anywhere again. I can go to the shops. I can go shopping anywhere. And I'm like, oh, okay, that really worked. I like that mindset that this too shall pass. Like this is not going to be forever. But wow, the first 2 days, I really fought it. I wanted massages. I wanted to go to acupuncture, and then they were like, no, lady, no.
No, for sure. And I mean, I think, and that's the attitude and the mindset that we should really have, because if you have a different mindset, I think if you are fearful and you're thinking that this situation is never going to come to an end, it's just going to bring more stress on us, and we won't be able to work through the situation. So I do think it's important for us just to maintain that positivity, that it will pass and we will get out of it. I mean, when you shared with me a couple of weeks ago that you were out of your lockdown, and of course you're still using precaution here and there, but I mean, it was so encouraging to hear that there are other countries who are coming out of it completely, and they've been able to basically sustain the situation so that it doesn't get out of hand. So it was really encouraging just hearing that, different parts of the world, we are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. In South Africa, we're having a bit of a challenging time at this stage, but I'm also positive that we will work through this. And, with some of the restrictions that they've put in place again, I believe that it will just stop the virus from spreading and so on. But we just continue moving forward, hey? So tell me, what impact has COVID-19 really had on your businesses, Vangile?
Oh, wow.
I know you do a lot online, but just share with me, share with us what the experience has been for you in business.
Wow. So COVID has completely destroyed one stream of income for me for this year. I don't want to say destroyed, because I feel like the stream of income will be revived again in 2021, but it's definitely packed it. So one of my streams of income is for Wealthy Money is through international retreats, right? So I had retreats planned in Vietnam. I had a retreat scheduled in Sri Lanka, and I had a retreat scheduled in Goa, India. And it's so, I had already paid for the plane tickets, paid for the venues, paid for a lot of things for the Vietnamese retreat, which was supposed to happen in April. And then I had to cancel all that, and students had to get refunds. Some students have deferred to the next retreat in 2021. And then for Sri Lanka, some of the payments that I've made, I've just had to be like, oh, well, I live in Sri Lanka. it's okay. Eventually there will be a retreat in Sri Lanka, right? So
Yes.
I'm not too worried about Sri Lanka. It's actually been very chilled, and I haven't made a lot of payments because my thinking, everyone's thinking was, well, you're here, we know where to find you, so you can
Yes.
pay in August or whenever the retreat is, which was when I was supposed to pay, but I have to give refunds for those students as well. And then Goa, definitely not happening. My feeling is that I don't know what's going to happen in Goa, because for Goa, I wanted everyone to experience the vibe of drums on the beach every evening, going to dance on the beach, having people drumming, all these exciting things, the night markets. But I don't know if I can do another retreat and go if I can do a retreat in Goa in 2021, because I don't know how that has impacted all the people that would usually go there for season. So
Yes.
I'm moving that retreat to Kerala next year. And instead of the 3 retreats that I wanted to have last year, I had 3 retreats. This year I was also going to have 3 international retreats. Next year I've only scheduled 2 retreats. So COVID has already impacted the business, right? Because now I have to see what will happen, because I don't know what's really happening in the travel industry. And usually I would allow people to prepay for the retreats and do things. And now I'm only like, okay, only students that I know and clients that I've had, I'm like, okay, you guys know the dates beforehand, but I will announce it to the public only at the end of this year when I see what's happening with travel. So there's been a lot. And what that has meant, though, is that I've had to rethink how now focus more on the online aspects of the business, focus more on the online courses, do more around my online coaching, and then also start thinking like Mizo and I are really focused on how do we monetize the Property Magicians podcast. So also monetizing that extra stream of income, like monetizing that and making it an extra stream of income. So it's been interesting. And I won't lie, when this happened in April, I was like so freaked out. I was like, wow, that's like a lot of money, that like the business is losing. It's like, wow. But now part of me is actually, the other day I was thinking, I'm actually happy it happened this way, because I
Yes.
feel like it's forcing me to now really focus more on the online courses and start thinking about how do I want this to grow? Because before I was like, it will grow in its due time, as you have me pegged, I'm very chilled. I'm like, but
Yes.
now I'm like, okay, no, this has to happen, and I need to start thinking of how do I grow it, not just in the way that I've been growing it, which has been nice and steady and sustainably, but how do I really want it to look? What would be the best benefit, not just for Wealthy Money, but also for the students? How could I make this so amazing that it would be incredible for the students as well? So then it led to me starting to do more work around trauma, like more work, more of my EFT tapping work, more of my breath work, all that stuff. And it's been really, really changing. So
Yes.
I'm really, in many ways, it's been a loss, but then I also see how it's been this tremendous gain, because the retreats, you can't expand them in a way that without really expanding the number of retreats you do. At least for me, I mean, I don't want to say it that way. You can definitely have a retreat that has 100 people, 200 people, but that is not the model that I want, right? My model is like 5 or 6
Yes.
students tops at a retreat, because I want to keep that personalized feeling. And also we
Yes.
do 5-hour daily massages at the retreats. And there's only so many trained massage therapists that I can tap into in Thailand that are trained in this specific style of massage. So I
Yes.
am also limited by the number of massage therapists. Maximum, there's about 4 or 5 massage therapists that I can tap into. And that's it, that are trained in this style of massage. And I'm like, that already limits me on a global scale, So that just means that I can only have X amount of people at my retreats. So now, though, it means that I can serve more people with the online stuff, with my online courses, which is really incredible. Like, though I know that the courses are incredible, the students say that, and they've also been wanting more growth, more expansion in that area. So it has forced me to really start focusing on that.
Awesome. And I really think that's generally been the experience for a lot of entrepreneurs at this time, is that we've basically had to reinvent ourselves, reinvent our businesses, and find new ways of generating, additional streams of income, especially where we've lost income on certain streams. So I think it's really been an experience of, yes, whilst it's been challenging, I think it's also been a good experience, because it's really forced us, to think a little bit more outside of the box and become a lot more creative and innovative in how we're bringing our services across. But I really want you to focus on wealth money. So, I mean, you're talking about your retreats, and I promise you, you're making it sound so awesome. I'm thinking that as soon as you're able to host those retreats again, I definitely want to join in on one of them, because you make it sound like this amazing experience. And I think maybe just share with the audience, as part of your wealth money, just share with us what you really do and what are the main objectives through the retreats and some of the online courses that you are delivering. I think it will really be good for all of us to hear about that as well.
Yeah. So what Wealthy Money does, the aim of Wealthy Money is to help people heal ancestral trauma so that they can fall in love with their bank accounts and build their best lives and build generational wealth. And the way that I do that is literally through healing. It's a non-traditional way of approaching finance. So my theory is quite simple, is that even if people have all the knowledge in the world, we both know, having attended seminars and seen things, that some people will take action from the seminars, right? And there's the famous thing that people always say at seminars and events. You'll hear speakers always say, only 2% of people in this room are going to take action and make use of this information. But like, I've always felt like they saying this from a place of shaming to make us want to take action. And I was that 98% that never took action, and I would go to all these personal finance seminars, and I was like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do the things that need to be done? Other people will then be there the next year at the event and sharing their incredible stories. And I'm still like, oh my God, I'm still where I am. And this is how I started to then do the work, because at the same time, I was also struggling with panic attacks. So years ago, when I was $60,000 in debt, I started struggling with panic attacks around money. And it was so shameful for me, because I had a finance honors degree, and I also had done this incredible MBA in the US. So everybody thought, oh my God, she's got it together. And I just looked put together externally. Oh, she's such a free spirit. She's traveling. She's doing all these things. So obviously, if she's traveling, she must have money. Nobody ever thought like that. I'm traveling from credit cards, debt. I'm borrowing money from family and friends, all that. It looks good on the outside, but inside it was just messy. So one day I was going to withdraw money and I started having panic attacks around money, and I had about $2,000 in my bank account, and yet it just felt like I am the brokest I've ever been. I have no money. I wouldn't even allow myself to look at my bank statement. And this then just started happening in every area of my finances. Thinking about money would freak me out. I was like literally living off of Pepto-Bismol, which is like something that you take for acid reflux. And I was just like struggling, I was like, so there was the panic attacks, and then there was the physical ailments. And then I started having my tailbone was painful. It was just like, it was a mess. And I was then I got so depressed, I couldn't get out of bed. And my friends, most of them that are still my friends, they are on social media, and they'll sometimes comment about, oh my God, we've seen you through the stage. And they'd have to come cook for me and just like support me. And I thought, this can't be my life, and I know the practical aspects of money. They supposedly work, and I've trained in them. So I refuse. If you had asked me then, what is a budget? I could rattle it off to you. If you had asked me what's exchange traded funds, I could rattle it off verbatim. You know, I was a great straight A student on paper. I knew how to discuss economics. I could tell you how economic events impact investments, all that. Still can do that, right? In my sleep.
Yes.
But I just could not make things come together in my life. I couldn't hold on to money. I couldn't save money. I couldn't do a personal budget, but I could tell other people what a budget is. I could read financial statements. I knew what a balance sheet was. I could read it. I could analyze it. I could even advise other people on it, but I just couldn't do that for myself. So for me, I was like, I need to unlearn everything that I've learned about money. You know, I'm like, what I've been taught is for other people. What you're taught in an MBA is how to help other people, is for business purposes. But what they don't take into account is you. What about you, your own universe? So I went on this journey and I started really going into the emotional parts around money, looking at the spiritual elements around money, and doing the work around healing ancestral trauma, because I'd been struggling with depression since I was 14, right? So for me, depression wasn't a new thing. It was something that I struggled with, and then it stopped, and then it came back in my 20s. I was like, this is coming back even worse with a vengeance. I'm now more suicidal. I'm like going through scenarios in my head about how I want to end my life. Something is definitely having to give. What is going on? And for me, a friend of mine was like, maybe all your emotional stuff is not just yours, it's also ancestral. Have you ever looked into something called epigenetics? Actually, he's more a shaman, but he was like, I know how you like to understand things in like a psychological and sometimes theoretical way, and then also practical way. But you say that your family does work around ancestral stuff. So maybe look into this. So I started researching epigenetics inheritance. I started looking at the work that is being done in psychology around trauma through generations, how trauma is passed down from generation to generation. And I started like seeing how all this was tied to money. You know, most people are just like, okay, you're just healing. But I was like, what if this is also deeply tied to money and the way that we relate to money? And I started just developing my own body of work. And that's literally what Wealthy Money does now. It does 2/3 of this deep emotional work and spiritual, emotional, physical, because a lot of our trauma is also stored in the body. So we do a lot of going into the body to release and integrate trauma that is stored in the body. I don't know if release is the right word, but definitely I want to say more like integrate, because trauma is part of us. So what we do is we just process it and integrate it, and then we stop reacting from a trauma space. And then the other 1/3 is the practical financial stuff. And what I found for myself as well is that now I can come back to the budgets and all the other things that I was getting taught at school, because I am no longer being triggered and panicking and scared. Now I can actually look at my bank account. Whereas before it's like, oh my God, take that away from me. You know, it is so scary. So now that I've gotten the tools and I've started healing and all that, I can now engage in the practical aspects of money. But so, yeah, that's what Wealthy Money does. Very long explanation, but I think many people would resonate with that.
Yes, no, for sure. And I mean, I think that's such an, you're basically working with the individual as well. So, before you even give them the practical tools and knowledge, it's about really taking, for the person to take care of themselves. And you're right, some people have gone through experiences in the past, or they may have been exposed to some experiences that may have had some sort of a negative impact. And for some reason, we don't always know why. But then, of course, as we start unpacking some of those things, you start to realize, and, I can also relate to what you're saying. If I think about myself from a spiritual journey, how I've actually grown as an individual, and how some of these experiences actually stopped me from moving forward and achieving success in certain areas. But as you start unpacking them, and as you start understanding, that some of these things are definitely, being passed on, and we need to deal with those experiences. And, from a spiritual perspective, I've also received, some deliverance and healing in those areas, which has really been positive for me. And you're right. And I think it's just an ongoing journey. I mean, I'm being trained by a phenomenal person, Vangile, and I must just say this to you. And, one of the things that he said to me was that he said not to me specifically, but to all his coaching students. And, he said to us that it's so important, for you to take care of you. Generally we find that as entrepreneurs and as, people with voices, and I mean, you're also a person with a voice, you've got different platforms through which you communicate and you share and you train. And he said, we're always finding ways to empower others and, to make them feel good about themselves, inspire them and encourage them, because that's who we are, it's part of us, it's what we want to do. But one of the things that he said to me was that it's so important to make sure that every single day you spend time on you.
Amen.
You have to spend time on you. And he said you make it like like almost like a ritual, almost, that becomes part of what you do. I don't know if ritual is the right word to use, but what I'm trying to say is something that you do every single day. It's like such a good formed habit that you have to take care of you first, and you have to do it every single day before your day even starts. And I've been doing that, but I've learned through this experience that it's so important for us to do it even, to a greater degree, and make sure that all of these things that you are teaching and that you are empowering people with, that you are also finding your own rhythm and doing what you need to do so that you can continue going out and being successful in those areas. So it's so awesome. I think you really started an awesome company. And I think, there are definitely a lot of people that will benefit from that, because you're right. Sometimes there are just some blockers and you don't understand why are these blockers here. I'm trying to do everything, but I just can't move forward in the area of finances or in the area of financial success or whatever. And I think it's such an important topic today. Not a lot of people like hearing about financial success and talks, it sometimes becomes such a sensitive topic, but I think it's, I think we are at a place in life today where we have to understand that it takes finances to live your life.
Amen. I'm so glad you said that. I'm like, yes, preach it, please. Yes.
It definitely takes finances to live a life, and not just any life, but if we want to live a successful life, if we want our loved ones to also live a good life, all the people in our circle and in our networks, it's going to take finances for us to be able to achieve a lot of our personal goals. If you think about it, almost everything we do today requires some sort of financial enablement. And I think that is why people need to be more open. We need to break away from the poverty mindset and thinking that, if I'm poor, I'm humble. If I just get by, it makes me a humble person. It's okay for me just to go through life struggling. It's what my parents did. It's what my great parents did. And, it should be the same for me, and so on. But I think we really need to get to a place, and it starts really with the mindset and the understanding that we need to get to a place where we have to break free from those, from those traditions. We have to break free from those things that have been trying to hold us down. And it's okay for you to want to dream big and pursue those dreams and live those dreams. And I think, and I think that's part of what you do as well, as really, through your voice. And you are able to really get people to connect with that life again, with their dreams again.
Yes, I think, one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is that it's so, as we grow older, it becomes harder for us to dream. It's almost like, and I see it all the time. I see it because I run the income challenge in the Money Magic student group, and we do a lot of work around income in the student group, right? And the big thing is that there's so much fear for all of us, myself included, because I also do the challenge with the students, to really sit down and say what you want, what you really, really want. And the temptation is that you write down what you think is affordable, what you
Yes.
think is what you think you can attain. But the big dreams that you would usually have as a child and say, oh my God, I want this, and I'll be this, and I'll be president of the whole world. You guys are going to bow to me or whatever. Like I watch my nieces play, and I always laugh at that, like all the things that they say. I'm going to be queen, and you don't want to be like, you actually have to be born a queen, but you just let it be. But we don't do that as adults, you just we're taught so much to just even when people ask us what we want, we give what we think is possible. We say what we think is possible, even when we have to write it down. Like in the student group and in the course, it's like you just have to write it in your journal. But just writing that in your journal is so hard for most people. For most of us, it's like, I can't possibly write it, even admitting it. So I think the big thing is also starting, a huge part of the process is also starting to allow ourselves to dream again, starting to allow ourselves to desire, to have the courage to want things. Because the big thing is that we are so scared that the things that we want, we will not be given. But how do you ask for something if you don't know how to want it? How do you put together a plan if you don't know how to want it? So most times we completely talk ourselves out of something because, well, that is impossible, that can't be done. And yet the reason why we sometimes want those things is because we see other people having them. So clearly it's not impossible. It's just that we believe that it is impossible for us, which means that we now need to start working through the traumas and the stories and the beliefs that were instilled in us as to what we thought we could do, the identities that we've now taken on, that are probably identities that were never meant to be taken on, but we took them on because we were led to believe that that the only way to survive in this world and to remain safe is to take on those identities. So I think like that's a huge part of the work that we do. And our identities are definitely formed by our traumas. They're formed by past experience. So if I've seen in the past that I've set a big income goal and I've been working on this income goal for 2 years, and after a while I get tired of the disappointment, right? Then the next time someone asks me to set this income goal, I'm just going to decide, no, it's not possible. Or I'm going to tell myself, be realistic and aim for lower. Because, well, I've done this for 2 years and it didn't work out, and that holds us back so much, because a lot of our future decisions that we make in the present moment are based on the past, not based on what we truly want right now, right? So this is where healing becomes such a huge, huge thing and so important.
Yes, no, for sure, Vangile. And I mean, that's really the thing that you just said now, but dreaming again and wanting to really, believe that you are worthy. And I think it really also is, we need to understand that we are worthy to dream, to achieve those dreams. And, it is okay for us to want to achieve our dreams and be successful. And it's going to take some time for you to convince yourself, from a spiritual perspective, from an emotional perspective, a mental perspective. And if people are able to tap into programs that can help them, really become more persuaded or convinced, that we are worthy. I mean, one of my favorite books, that
Can I interject just for 5 seconds, Candice, to say, I really want us to start untying worth and worth from receiving, right? From receiving and building the life that we want and even making money. I keep hearing this belief that I am worthy, I am deserving. This is so irrelevant, because often when we say I am worthy, we have connotations of what makes us worthy. And so then we have to start qualifying what makes us worthy. And some of us have deep not good enough scripts running from past trauma, especially if you come from a background of emotional or verbal abuse or even physical abuse from childhood or from adulthood, where you were constantly told that you are not good enough or you are useless or you will fail, then we start to believe that we are not worthy and we are not enough. So when we talk about I am worthy and we keep saying that, then the subconscious mind may be tempted to qualify our worthiness. And some of us may not find those qualifications or those factors, and then it will hold us back. So what I've often seen when we use I am worthy, especially around money, I am worthy of this income goal, or I am deserving of this income goal, is that some people are trapped in a cycle of proving that they are indeed worthy of this income goal and then holding themselves back. And I did it, so I should say holding ourselves back before achieving the goal and before allowing ourselves to achieve the goal, because we are so busy proving our worthiness that we are blocking energetically or emotionally ourselves from reaching the income goal. So just allowing yourself in the state, imperfect as you are, even if you don't believe you are worthy, even if you don't believe you are deserving, that maybe it is okay for me to have this income goal, right? Regardless of what I've done in the past, regardless of the mistakes I've made, that maybe I am enough here and now. And it is okay. Like, I can allow this income goal to come through. I don't even need to be talking about worthiness or deservingness. I just am. I am enough right now. Just because I breathe, I am a child of the divine, and that makes me enough as I am.
Amen. And I mean, yeah, you know, and that's so true too, because I mean, one of the things that, and I think this is so important for every individual, you really need to find your frame of reference. You know, what are you spending time on? You know, what are you listening to? What are you reading? You know, what are you watching? Because all of those things are going to impact, you know, the thoughts that you have, the beliefs that you have. So it's so important for us to make sure that we really tap into a frame of reference that we believe is going to help build us and empower us. And of course, we find different things out there. We read different material. But I must still say, you know, for me, I love reading. I love spending time reading, you know, about successful people, about learning from people who've maybe done amazing things. I love learning from other people. But one of the things that I can definitely say has really helped me and continues to sustain me, Vangile, is definitely spending time in my favorite book, which is the Word of God. And you know, that's really where I find a lot of my inspiration. I mean, a lot of times, you know, and that's why I said to you, I've had to go through this journey and experience of also deliverance, you know, becoming free in certain areas and, you know, working through this healing experience. And I mean, it's not something that always happened overnight. It's been a journey. But I just find for myself, you know, that, you know, the Word of God for me has been so instrumental and so strategic. And, you know, I really choose to spend more and more time in it, because that's really where I find my liberation. That's where I find my freedom. That's where I find my strength. And that's where I find my ability to be able to continue dreaming big and continue going for my goals, because, you know, when I read it, it's almost as if he's talking to me directly, you know, and I've learned that the faith comes by hearing the message over and over. And of course, the more, I'm sure most of us have affirmations, or a lot of successful people I know have affirmations, daily affirmations that we make. And I just find with myself that the more you confess, the more you say those affirmations, the more you speak those affirmations, you know, the more persuaded you become about it, and the more persuaded and convinced you are about it, that's when that thing will also start manifesting in your life, you know. So there's so many different elements, and I think you and I will probably be able to spend so much of time talking and learning from one another and sharing experiences and, you know, being able to tap into one another's experiences. And I know we're going to have an opportunity to spend more time together in the future, but I'm so conscious of time, and we can go on and on. But I really just hope for people who've been listening to us, you know, you are able to connect with Vangile, you know, on her podcast. We will make her details available in the chat box. So if you've got, you know, you would like to spend more time hearing and learning from her and about some of these experiences that she shared and the trainings that she does. We will make sure that we do leave her details in the chat box and you can connect with her as well. And then, of course, I will be looking at some of the comments straight away. But I think whilst, so for those of you who are listening, please just, I do see some comments, I'll address them shortly. But for those of you who are still listening and you've got further comments or questions, please do put it into the chat box for us. Now is a good time for you to do that. I will be working through all of those comments, and between Vangile and myself, we will be answering them. So please do share that. And I think whilst we're doing that, maybe just to share with people that, so for those of you who are listening, I'm also very excited to announce, and some of you may have seen some of the communications in terms of, you know, what we've been promoting for the last couple of days. And I'm very excited to announce that SME Women will be hosting our first global virtual entrepreneurial and investing summit. So I'm very, very excited to share that with all of you. I mean, for those of you who know me, you know, I've been doing these women in business events, you know, over the last couple of years, and it's always been in group settings at a venue. And, you know, that's how we've been engaging with our women in business audience. And now we actually have the opportunity to reach a greater audience, you know, in terms of everything being able to go virtual. And, you know, it's always been a vision of mine to do a global event. I really didn't know when it was going to happen and how it was going to happen, because you always, sometimes you have these limitations like we've been discussing now, and you think, okay, it needs to be a physical location, and, you know, it needs to be where everyone will be able to go to it. But, you know, with all of what's happened now over the last couple of months, you know, we've realized that we can do it virtual as well. And I'm also very honored to share with you that Vangile is also one of our speakers, and she will definitely be gracing us with her presence. And the topic specifically for the summit will be 7 emotions that stop us from expanding financially in business. And I think it's also such a relevant topic for today's time. So for those of you who haven't registered yet, we have made the registration link available in our chat box. So please register for the event. It is a free event, so you don't have to pay for the event. Just reserve your space. And of course, it will be from the 22nd to the 23rd of August. So we've got an amazing speaker lineup, and Vangile being one of them. And really, you'd be able to just come and connect with us on the weekend, and you'll be able to, you know, look at different topics that's able to really help you move from glory to glory, from one level of success next level of success. And really through our topics and through our sharing, we want to inspire you, we want to empower you, we want to equip you. And we've got different speakers who will be touching on different elements. So please connect with us, register, reserve your space today. It is going to be an amazing summit. And Vangile, I think if you can maybe just quickly share from your side why you think people should definitely register for the event, and of course also attend your specific topic, your talk.
Okay, so for me, I think that people should register just because you're going to get so many different perspectives from so many different business women, right? We all have our own stories about how we were able to build our businesses and do the things that we do. And everyone is different. Maybe my story may not fully resonate with you, but you'll find another woman on there whose story is like, oh my God, this is me. I need to follow her, and I need to learn more from her. So I think it's just valuable, right? Just for that. And I know I'm attending because actually there are some women on there whose stories I've always wanted to know more of, right? Like I follow them on Instagram. I've been following their blogs at times, or I follow them on Twitter, and I'm like, wow, I want to know more. And I just want to hear what they have to say about certain topics. And sometimes I don't get an opportunity to make some of their talks, to attend some of their online sessions, because I've also got my own stuff going on the side. But now that I'm there for this weekend, I'm like, I'm making time for this. So yeah. And then my topic, which is just the 7 emotions that stop us from expanding in business. This one's really going to be focused more around income growth, right? So it will be focused on what are some of the things that stop us just from expanding financially, and also marketing and selling and making ourselves visible. So one of the things that I teach in the Money Magic course is around this vow of invisibility. And now the vow of invisibility doesn't mean that I'm not scared to show up in front of like 1,000 people or be seen by 1,000 people. It's possible to be chilled, relaxed in front of 1,000,000 people and be seen by them, but not be seen by them because you've got a mask. So the vow of invisibility is about how could dropping that mask actually start to help you grow even more in terms of your business and expanding. Because as you can imagine, just getting rid of that mask and some of the emotions tied to it, it means that I can have vulnerable conversations with you, which can lead to things like, hey, Vangile, do you want to be part of this summit that I'm doing? And by the way, would you like to do a Facebook Live? And oh my gosh, would you like to connect to my network? All these things are so interconnected. So as we start to heal so many aspects of our lives. It goes beyond money. So I think like this particular class that I'm doing will be touching a lot on that. I really feel for some reason that I want to talk more around invisibility and talk around all the emotions that hold us back in business as well.
Awesome. And that sounds so exciting, Vangile. So thank you myself. I mean, like you say, you know, we have the opportunity for ourselves as well, even as part of the speaker panel, to really, you know, make ourselves available this weekend, listen to all these amazing entrepreneurs and investors. And we are going to be having some male speakers as well. So it's not just exclusive to female speakers. We also having some male speakers. So even though SME Woman is a women in business initiative, you know, we are not excluding our male counterparts, you know, to in any way. So they are always welcome. And I also believe that, you know, it's also important to also listen to some of our male counterparts and hear what they have to say in certain areas. So we're definitely going to be having some male speakers there. And please do, like I say, register today. Make sure you reserve your seat, and you will be able to connect with all of us and learn from these amazing entrepreneurs and investors covering different topics. Vangile has just shared a little bit on her topic, and I really believe it's going to be adding value to a lot of you. So thanks, Vangile, for sharing that. And I've just been through the comments. So I don't see specific questions for us, but more comments, Vangile. So people have just been saying that, you know, they definitely resonate with your story, what you've been sharing. It's been very encouraging. And, you know, people also just saying that, hi, ladies, really love Vangile. I listen to a Property Magicians podcast religiously. And they're saying shine, you know, and I'm here. Hi, Van. Hi, Candice. And just giving us some awesome shout outs there. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing with us. And, you know, just continue leaving those comments, and we'll definitely have a look at them later on. And if there's anything that we can respond to, we'll be happy to do that for you. So Vangile, thank you so much for your time. And I think maybe just last words from your side before we close this broadcast for today. Just last words to our audience out there.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you so much, guys, for showing up. Thank you for being here. If this resonated with you, please share the video that Candice and I did, and please sign up for the summit. It will be lovely to see you guys. And of course, let me know what your thoughts are, and check out the Wealthy Money blog. If a lot of this resonated with you, I have tons of blog articles where I unpack a lot of the stuff even more deeply, and there's various categories, so you can literally land on the blog post and decide which categories you want to explore, right? So just go to wealthy-money.com/blog and join there. Otherwise, also check out the breathwork meditation, my free complimentary breathwork meditation from Wealthy Money. You can go to wealthy-money.com/breathwork and download that, and there's instructions. They'll come to your mailbox, and it's just a great tool to help you if you're feeling overwhelmed, feeling anxious, feeling scared right now. Just going into the body and breathing. It's such an important thing to work with the body, guys. The body never lies. So if you can just allow yourself to be in your body and to breathe and to move and to sound it out, so many things will just start to come out. Better out than in, right? So just allow all that to come out. So that's the point of the breath work. Again, go to wealthy-money.com/breathwork and you'll find it there. That's awesome. It. Thank you, Candice.
Great stuff. Thank you, Vangile. And once again, we'll make those links available for you in the chat. So thank you, Vangile. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me. Such a privilege and an honor to connect with you and to learn from you. And I really do look forward to collaborating with you on our summit and doing more amazing things together. So thank you so much and keep up the good work and all the best with your business and investing and everything that you are working on. God bless you.
Thank you. Oh, this has been a pleasure.
Awesome. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.